Right, I'm going to have a go at explaining how to play Down the Line by Jose. It's in normal tuning and most often played with a capo on the first fret, but you can play it open if you like. The trick to this song is mostly in the right hand strumming pattern, if you're a right-handed guitarist. I'll show you the first chord and then explain the strumming pattern, and then we'll go into more chords. The first chord is the pointer finger on the 5th fret of the 2nd string, and then the pinky finger on the 4th fret of the 7th fret of the 4th string up here, and then the ring finger on the 7th fret of the 5th string. Oh shit. So that's the first chord. Now the strumming pattern is, if you think in terms of 1, 2, 3, 4, which I usually do, it's down on the 1, up on the 2, down on the 3, and up on the 4. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. So you can sort of speed it up. So that's the pattern. You usually only play the bass note being the 5th string most of the time, on the first beat of the bar, and the rest of the time you're playing mostly the 2nd, 3rd and 4th strings and a bit of the 1st string. Alright, more chords. The second chord is, as far as I can gather, put your ring finger on the 5th fret of the 2nd string down there, and the middle finger on the 5th fret of the 5th string. While you've got your fingers in this position, one of the little moves that Jose does is to take off the ring finger and put on the pointer finger on the 3rd fret of the 2nd string. So if we go back to the top, so it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2. And then he goes into the next chord, which is pinky on the 5th fret of the 2nd string and the ring finger on the 4th fret of the 5th string. And then take off that ring finger and put down your middle finger on the 3rd fret of the 5th string. And then you can, from that chord, you can hammer on to the 3rd fret of the 2nd string, and then strum those 1st, 2nd and 3rd strings open a couple of times, and then you go back up to the top. So there's the verse. The chorus is, it's a bit tricky, the first chord of the chorus. The pinky goes on the 7th fret of the 1st string, then the pointer finger on the 5th fret of the 2nd string, and then the ring finger on the 7th fret of the 4th string, and then the middle finger on the 7th fret of the 5th string. So it's something like this. But if that's too hard to do, the other option is to probably don't use your middle finger and just use your ring finger on the 7th fret of the 5th string and just mute the 4th string. Has a similar effect. So it's either of those two. The second chord is, so in this pattern, for the whole, I guess, descending pattern, you keep your pinky and another finger on the 5th fret of the 2nd string, so that high ringing sound stays consistent. The second chord, after you do that first one, is to go pointer finger onto the 5th fret of the 5th string and middle finger holding down that 5th fret of the 2nd string in there. And then we start to do some finger reaching exercises where you just bring that pointer finger back from the 5th fret down to the 4th fret of the 5th string, and then bring it back another one to the 3rd fret of the 5th string. So you sort of, so you're bringing it down, and then he does a little which where you take your pinky off and then just put your ring finger on the 5th fret of the 5th string, of the 1st string, 5th fret of the 1st string, and your middle finger stays on the 5th fret of the 2nd string. So it's something like this. Okay, I've got 3 minutes to go and I'll try and show you the other bits. There's one bit where he does a funky little bassline riff. So it's from the end of the verse, there's like 2 lines of the 2nd verse where he goes, I'll play it fast. Did you see that? So he's hammering onto the 2nd fret and of the 6th string, and then I think he's sort of hammering onto the 5th fret of the 5th string quite quickly, and then strumming it open and then going back to the first chord of the verse. And then he slides up, just keeps that same shape and slides it up 3 frets. It's a tricky little move and I'm still trying to really nail it, but you get the idea, I think. Are there any other bits? The outro bit, the don't let the darkness eat you up bit is the same chords as the verse. So there's a lot of fingers and strings there, and I hope that explains it somewhat. I've had a few people asking, and unfortunately the first recording I did of this on YouTube a couple of years ago was in an almost dark room, and so it wasn't very helpful to anyone who was trying to learn it. So I hope that it's, despite being long overdue, I hope that it's helpful. So yeah, send me a message if you have any questions about bits that I've explained poorly. And thanks for watching.